Yep, guys, you are seeing that right. That is a 220, not a 210. So this obviously begs the question, what are we doing with a 220 and not a 210? So we are actually at Brandon's, a dirt grinding steel, another YouTube channel. He's got a little deal going on with his local Hyundai deal. They've got him a 220 out here on demo. He's about 5 hours north of me, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna swing by, check this thing out. I have ran one a little bit at a show, but I've never really got the opportunity to put one in the dirt and see what it's all about. The most common question I get on the YouTube channel for the most part is, what is the difference between a 220 and a 210? And they are very, very similar machines. They are the same class machines. Some of the obvious differences you guys will meet or see right off the bat. This machine overall, I've covered this before, is about 10-12 inches wider. So from counterweight to counterweight, the entire house is a little bit wider on it. Other than that, it is very, very, very similar to the way it's set up. I don't know all the details on this. There is some differences in the pump to match up with the engine, and the engine is probably the biggest difference overall. This does have the 6-cylinder Cummins engine in it, where ours has the 4-cylinder Cummins engine in it. So we got her sitting here idling, purring like a kitten. Pop the hood up there. There you guys go. That's the B 6.7 liter. Now keep in mind, and I covered this on the review video on my excavator, they are rated at very similar horsepower. They are also rated at very similar torque ranges, but this is a bigger engine. So I'm curious where we go digging here in a minute to see, one, I want to get in the monitor and check the fuel burn on it. I'm curious what the fuel burn is on this one compared to mine. I'm also curious just to see if there's any major differences in the feel of the machine overall. One other thing I noticed is a little bit different on this machine is the way the depth tank is set up. This one here has a much larger toolbox on it, and then it don't have the double depth access. Let me push that down there a little bit. I believe the depth access is underneath this one here. A little bit different than the way the old 210 is, but luckily they got an awesome sand pit here. We can go put this thing down in the dirt. I can't handle it no more. Let's go do some digging. So this machine, I believe, can you guys see, about 264 hours, which is very similar to mine. Fuel rate information, what do you guys think? Want to take a bet? I'm going for at least 4 gallons per hour. That's gonna be my guess. What do you guys think? General record, well, holy cow, look at that. That is almost identical fuel burn to mine. Now, one thing I'm curious about, with these few of hours on it, it's hard to get a good hourly rating on it. You can definitely see here it was burning close to fuel in high load situations. It's burning close to 4 gallons per hour. But a lot of times spit right there around that 3.129. That's impressive. If he ends up buying this machine, I'm curious over time what that fuel rate burn does. So, all right, enough of that. Let's go dig. All right, here we go, guys. First pass, first impressions. What's the old 220 guy? I guess I can't call it old. I call it the new 220. It is definitely got a little bit of a different feel. Not quite for sure what it is yet. Definitely got a different sound to it. It's gonna be a little bit hard to compare apples to apples because he's got different teeth, different style bucket, and we got a little bit of different style ground up here, but it's pretty doggone similar in feel overall. I can definitely tell he's got his settings a little bit different than what I'm used to running back home. All right, we got to tinker in the monitor a little bit here. All right, guys, it's one thing I've kind of talked about on these Hyundais before. There's so much adjustability in this monitor that you can get lost in there if you're not careful. So I've kind of made a few adjustments and kind of changed this machine to the way I want to operate. Some of it has to do with the user mode here. I'm going to turn this idle down a little bit. I got it up too high. Also made some changes in the combination speed setting, which is these here. We've talked about this before. I'm actually going to give a little bit back to my swing there. I feel like it needs some back. Go back. Auto power boost is enabled. IPC mode, I changed it from efficiency to speed. Initial mode, I'm going to change that to U mode. See if we brought her to life. Let's see if she brought her to life. And if you guys haven't noticed over here, there is now a link belt drag line running. Yeah, I hate to tell them, but I'm not leaving here without running that thing. All right, I never know how well it shows up on camera, but I can immediately tell right off the bat. You guys, I mean, way more speed. Look at that. Oh yeah, we're moving some dirt now, boys. I think we can compete with the link belt over there. What do you guys think? It's hard to operate whenever you got that thing out there swinging around and this looks cool as crap. Look at that. Sometimes you just gotta park the new stuff and go play on the old stuff. All right, let's keep going. So after getting this thing adjusted a little bit and kind of playing with it, there is some small differences and some small nuances as far as the way they operate and the way they behave, but they are eerily similar. There is not a major difference I can tell between my 220 and my 210. I think it's just kind of your application, what's available. I do believe these machines are just a tick more, but I'm curious to get Brennan in the seat for two reasons. see if the changes I made to the monitor, he can tell what his thoughts are on them. And I wanted to get his opinion on what he thinks of this machine, because it may be completely different from what my opinion is on the machine. So let's see if we can round him up and see what his thoughts are. Let Brandon hop back in the seat. If you guys don't know, I think I mentioned it before, Dirt Graining Steel, be sure you check out his YouTube channel. They do a lot of cool stuff on there as well. Primarily in the excavating business, do a lot of farming, do a lot of their own mechanicking. I actually found his channel because he was putting a set of tracks on an old Gleaner combine. Can you tell a difference?
Yeah, I feel a big difference.
I think we got them lined out now. I will say, even the 6-cylinder machine, it is still extremely quiet. I can hear the old link belt running over top of this machine. It does seem to have a little bit more hydraulic noise to it, but the engine noise is still pretty quiet. Primary engine noise you hear on this machine, or the 210, is actually the fan.
It's a lot better to grade it with it too. Whatever you changed really made it not so touchy when you grade.
And we can, if you wanted to change some stuff, we can still kind of fine tune her in a little bit, but that's kind of where I run at, right there.
Yeah, I like this. I mean, this is like...
It's like a whole new machine, isn't it?
Yeah. I thought it was good before, but I'm really impressed with it now. It showed me exactly what he does.
I can't let him know all my secrets. We just need to get him one of those fancy work brow thumbs on there. Again, keep in mind, he hasn't bought this machine yet. This is just a demo from his dealer, but I think he's leaning, I think his decision is between this and a between this 220 Hyundai. The other option he has available to him, I believe, is a 220D or 220D case. So you guys run some of the cases down below. I know some of you guys are really happy with those machines. He actually was quite fond of the case when they demoed it. It was probably top of his priority list. They wanted to give this Hyundai a try and see what they think about it. And I think it's going to at least be a contender for him. So. And no, Hyundai did not pay me to come up here and do this or say nice things. I'm just happy to be in the area and I want to stop by and check this out. I'm sure some of you guys are going to comment about that. So Brandon, Dirt Graining Steel, I've mentioned your channel a few times. You got a beautiful 220 in your possession here.
Thank you.
So before I brainwash you, what's your thoughts on it?
It's been a really good machine, especially now that you've adjusted it. It's got a lot of power. The gradability is way better than it was before when I ran it. I thought I had it, but I still had a little question on the gradability with it. And I never got a chance to do any actual trenching with it, just done a lot of hogging dirt, loading trucks and stuff. But smooth operating, comfortable machine to run. Like I said in my videos, I was sick and still running this thing without a problem. You know, I felt comfortable enough to run it. All around, I really, really like the machine. So
what was this is the first Hyundai machine you've been around, correct?
No, I've run a HX 300 long reach. I've got quite a few hours in one of them and really enjoyed that. I don't think that was an A model. I think that was next.
Well,
yeah.
they man, they're gonna put me on the spot now. I think there was were they RX models?
I think so. LRX.
Yeah, yeah.
But it wasn't very old. Let's put it that way. It was right under this series because Hardings keep their rental machines pretty new. I run that machine quite a bit and was really impressed with it. Dug in some really hard sand with it and could get full buckets every time. Dug a pond, got them 15 foot of depth like they wanted, no problem. And cycle time was rather quick up and out of the hole.
So I mentioned earlier you guys are in the market for a new machine.
Yes.
And you've demoed a few different ones. I know you mentioned a case.
Yep.
Demoed a case, and I know you guys got a bunch of Hitachi machines. So, like, first impressions, what stood out on the Hyundais versus some of the other ones you had?
Looking over it from a mechanical standpoint, because we do all of our own mechanical work.
Somebody's speaking my language now.
I liked the accessibility to get to everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy if you need to clean out a cooler. It's all open. You can get in here and pressure wash everything out. And I'm sure that you could get that cooler unbolted and fold it down and get to the rest of them.
And then if you go on the other side and open the door, serviceability, everything's right there.
The fuel filter, the engine oil filter, it's all right there. In fact, they got drains right out the bottom here, and I think the engine oil you can drain from right here.
You can.
So, and there's plenty of room behind the boom to be able to get down in, change hoses, especially on a 300. You could have a party down in there if you wanted to. But yeah, it's maintenance wise, I think it's going to be a breeze to work on it. So, and I really like the seat, comfortable seat. I liked how you could adjust the controls up and down. With this right here, you can bring them up and down to the height you want.
That's one thing I haven't done on mine hardly at all, but basically you can adjust the height of the controls and keep the same height of the seat.
Yes, yep. I really like that about it. I really like the amount of airflow you get out of the air conditioning. And well, I haven't had the heat on because it hadn't been cold enough yet here in Indiana, but I mean, airflow is a big thing.
You sure you're not in Canada?
No, I'm not in Canada.
I first messaged him when he got this machine, talking over, I wanted to compare some notes, and I could have swore he was in Canada. Come to find out he's 5 hours north of me in Indiana.
Yeah, it must just be my Stark County, Indiana accent.
Hint, well, I'm actually here, because I don't know if I'd come to Canada to see you, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really worth driving to Canada for. But I did find out that front window glass breaks pretty easy. Had a stick on the track, swung around, is in my bowl.
Well, you bring up a good point there, because one of your major concerns about this machine, and it's been my concern in the past as well, I'm not going to act like it's not, is parts availability.
Yes.
You guys have a Case Parts warehouse here close.
Yeah, in Lebanon.
And you're able to get Case Parts quick. So that makes sense to go to the Case machine, right?
Yeah, it would, but I'm not hung up on that. You know, I'm not hung up on that. You know, if Hyundai can get some stuff overnight shipped or whatever, and you know, I don't mind waiting a couple days for parts. I just don't want to wait 2 weeks. You know, we're a smaller company. If a machine this size goes down, we're kind of hurting. We don't have 4 or 5 extra machines this size to jump in and go with.
Yeah, and in full disclosure, I've had the same question to my dealer, and I've asked the same question to folks at Hyundai, and fortunately, I haven't had to order many parts like you. I haven't broke any windows yet, but they've assured me they can get me parts rather quickly. You had a slightly different experience on your window, taking about 10 days to get it in, which I can understand where that would maybe raise a flag, but I think for what I've known or what I've seen, I don't think parts availability for these machines, the newer ones, are much different than any other new machine. And I think a lot of it has to do with your dealer and your location.
Yeah.
Is what it comes down to.
And we all know we're living in a time now where it is a little tough to get
You bring up an excellent point. There's pre-COVID, post-COVID.
Yeah, yep.
So.
And one little pro tip I want to point out, if you ever break this window, the rubbers that hold it in, it's very simple the way it goes in, and it's a cheap piece of glass because it's flat. But these rubbers, they're bare to get in, so put a little Dawn dish soap on them and they'll pop right in. Yeah, slide right in. I fought.
See, I probably would have cheated. I just would have went to the local glass shop. And I don't know what happened to it, Hyundai.
Brand new hoe. I want to put OEM stuff back on it, you know.
Well, I'm sure they appreciate it.
You'll notice on my channel, we like to use OEM stuff and put it back together, because I'd hate to be the guy that if we don't purchase it, gets it, looks down one day and says, well, that's not a Hyundai glass, and then I'll feel bad. you know.
So I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of questions on my channel. How does it feel operating the 220 versus the 210? And me and you just had a lengthy discussion about that.
Yes.
There is some small nuanced differences, but overall, guys, I can't tell a blink of difference. Once I got all the settings in the monitor, the exact same as my machine, without getting out looking at the number or noticing the small sound differences, I don't know if I know the difference.
So spec-wise, we're what, 10,000 heavier than your 210?
Correct.
And we're, what was the price differences?
I've heard different numbers, but let's just say around 10 grand.
Around 10 grand. So
that's $1 per pound.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I first heard it. So, and like you pointed out, the 210's a little more well-equipped for running attachments on it.
Correct.
So we're going to do a lot of brush mowing when this machine gets up around 5,000 hours, because of course, watch my channel, you know how violent my brush mower is. And I don't want to put it on there and destroy a brand new excavator with it. So it's going to stay on the 200 for now, but eventually it will have to be on this machine. So, you know, I kind of looking forward here, maybe base the machine around the attachments.
Now, in full disclosure, I literally ran this thing for 4 or 5 minutes digging a hole here. I'd love to get this thing out on one of our jobs and we can run it for a week or two at a time. Maybe some more differences would show up over time.
And I'm sure it will.
If you put me right now on the spot and made me choose between a 220 or a 210, I'm pretty comfortable with my decision on the 210. I mean, the lesser cost, the lesser weight, operates very similar. I feel like you get the same for less. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you know, honestly, this would be a 210 sitting here, but at the time we needed a machine because our 200 has some pump issues, and they had the 220 on the lot, and I said go ahead and bring it out. Otherwise, I would have a 210 sitting here. And
both of them are great machines.
Yeah, they're both great machines. I think what it's going to come down to is do you need that extra 10,000 pounds, or are you going to put a big breaker or something? One
other thing, you bring up another good point. That's one place I could tell a difference with the balance. You can definitely tell this machine's got a little more weight in the back of it.
Yeah.
You got a bigger bucket on yours than mine. And mine don't get upset with the bucket I got on it, but I can tell I'm not far from that. Well, this one here is extremely stable even with the bigger bucket.
Yeah. So regardless, when it comes down to it, if you buy a 220 or you buy a 210, they're both excellent machines. I'm not going to deter.
I think it's going to come down to availability, application, and dealer is what it comes down to.
As far as I know right now, our dealer has two 210s. So that's a possibility to get one of those. And I believe one of them has the cameras all the way around, which that's what I want. It's all AVC, all view camera. I think that's what it's called. That downward view of the excavator, so you can see all your sides all at once.
I'm not gonna lie, I got it. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, you know, the case I ran had it, and I thought the 350 case had it, and I thought it was beautiful. You know, and for what it costs to have extra, it's worth to have for safety.
To saving a panel or saving a person. So. Well, as much as I love talking about this brand new Hyundai machine, how awesome it is. I see a drag line over there.
You want to play with it?
Are you going to let me play with your drag line?
Yeah, you can play with my drag line. Just if you drop the bucket,
if we weren't friends before, we're going to be friends now.
Hey, you get to run my drag line. I really think you're
I'm moving up in the world?
Yeah, you're a good person.
See, I had to get his machine dialed in. Now I've proved myself over here.
No, I would have let you in the crane first.
All right, I got to hit the road here, but I'm not going to do it without at least giving it a try. Let's go figure it out.
Yeah, you'll have to go get it.
Swing,
front drum, which is drag drum, rear drum, which is hoist drum. These are your two steering levers, but just to dig, you don't need them. Then your main clutch is down here, and then this is your drag brake on this foot, and your hoist brake on this foot. And then your throttle right here.
Sounds so simple.
Yeah, and then you got your positive swing lock down there, and you got your swing and travel shifter.
All right, I can't operate and hold a camera, so you ready for this?
Yeah.
How much throttle? We don't need much.
Bring her up about 1,000. That's good for me.
All right.
Now with your swing, it doesn't have an automatic swing brake like an excavator, so you got to fight it back the other way.
I figured out the hard way the last few days. So you drop this one first?
pick your hoist up a little in that hard clay. Dirt in a bucket is a good thing, so it takes time. You know, you can't just jump in a drag line and expect to run it. You know, it's a lot of.
You hold just let out on the drag line, but hold the hoist.
Yes, yes, yep. You might have to lift your hoist up a little bit. There you go. Now hold that brake and let out on the drag. Now hold your drag.
Oops, I got slack in the line.
Yeah. This is the perfect time to train you because my cables are getting pretty rough anyway. So,
thank you for that.
Yeah, if we destroy a cable, it's no big deal to me. At least with a front shovel or cable backhoe, the bucket's not just out there just flying around wherever it wants to go, you know. You got some control.
So whenever you let it down, you let the drag out first, then let the hoist down?
Yeah, go ahead and let your drag out, and that'll get that bucket swinging out. Now drop your hoist. There you go. And if you're really good, you can taper that bank from over here.
Well, I don't know if I go that far.
There you go.
Look at that, professional.
Yeah, looks good. Put a nice taper on that, we rake it out and hydroseed it. And you know, I did set you up for disaster having you dig in the water. You know, it's kind of my fault. But you know what? I figured if we're going to learn, we're going to do it the hard way. And I'm not the best at running drag line, I'll admit. I'm a little rusty. Well executed. I like that.
Is that better?
That was storybook perfect right there. The drag cable never touched the dirt. And that's tough to do. You know, you can get in a rhythm all day long, and then as soon as you break that rhythm, you just might as well quit for the day and go in the house. And that's what's taught me the most is when I get all messed up, I just quit and walk away from it for a while. Hard clay down there, so that's not helping much either.
Oh, maybe.
There you go. That governor on this thing. Yeah, that's something that I wanted to change on it. I just got to do it. I need to put an ag style pump on easy to do off a tractor. Nice. Well, you think you could do it for 12 hours a day? The guys that run these were a different breed.
They were. This is one of the nicer old machines I've ran.
Yeah. Yeah, this one, you know, the speed cranes are nice machines. But even the Northwest air operated ones are really nice.
Uh-oh. Come on now.
What'd you think?
Very cool. I know I'm hard on the brakes because I'm kind of riding them right there at the end.
Yeah.
But I think, give me some time, I can get it figured out.
Yeah.
Not too bad for my first try.
Oh, I think you done great. I really do. You done really good for your first time in a crane. I mean, you know, riding the brakes, that's no big deal. You're learning, you know, and if it sacrifices a set of brakes to learn, well, so be it.
The problem is now I want one.
Well, we'll have to get you one.
Yeah, that's what you and a few other ones say. I'm going to be in trouble for this over this. Really cool, man. I appreciate it.
Yep, not a problem. I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's what it's all about.
Thank you. Well, Brandon, I can't thank you enough, man.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, I really appreciate you. It looks like we got your dad, and he's in love with the Hyundai over there now. He's been slinging ever since we've been slinging. Yeah. The problem is his pile of dirt's bigger than my pile of dirt.
Well, you know, cycle time's a little bit different, you know.
This is cooler.
Yeah, this is an art. You know, this is something that it takes a while to catch on.
I know I'm hard on the brakes, but I'm just afraid I'm going to bird nest a cable or something. But I'll get her figured out. But man, I can't thank you enough for taking a Sunday to come out here and let me play in your sandbox a little bit.
My pleasure.
If you guys get a chance, I'll link his channel in the description down below. Be sure to go check him out. Dirt Grinding Steel, awesome hospitality here. I had an awesome time. It was absolutely great. But unfortunately, I got to head 5 hours south. So
I know. I wish you could stay longer.
I know.
Get into some more stuff.
I see an old 850B dozer up there I like to play with. A couple of John Deere tractors.
Yeah.
I could spend a week around here and probably not get bored. So
yeah.
Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big old thumbs up. You want to make sure you don't miss out on what we get into next. I'd consider subscribing, but I'm going to hit the road and head to the house. See you guys later.